At this time, I'd like to welcome you to our board meeting this evening. We appreciate everyone that's in attendance, and at this time we do. Pastor Michael Mathis was to be here this evening. His niece passed away, so he is out of town conducting a funeral, and with us tonight is Pastor Cousins, and he is going to do our invocation followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. If you will, all please rise.
Let us pause for a word of prayer. Most gracious and heavenly Father, dear Lord, we come to you, Lord, as long as we know how, Lord. We first, Lord, ask you, Lord, to forgive us for all of our sins and transgressions. And Lord, we thank you and just praise you, Lord, for this moment in time, Lord, where you'll allow us to come together. As your word declares, never two or three shall touch agree, there you be in the midst. And Lord, we welcome you to our midst, Lord, even as the business is being conducted on tonight. Old business and no business, Lord, but we invite you in, Lord, that every decision that is made for the people. Lord, we lift up our officials in here on tonight, Lord, starting with the mayor and everybody underneath of her, Lord, because we truly know that every part supplies the whole. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for our first responders on today, Lord. We ask, Lord, you will protect them and keep them as well. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for the things that have already transpired, Lord, even as the construction is going on. Lord, we ask, Lord, for your continued safety. Lord, even as the dam is being opened, Lord, we ask for protection even out on the water as well, Lord. Even as summer approaches, Lord, and the children are out of school, Lord, we ask for their protection as well. Oh, Lord, so we just thank you, Lord, even for the officials in Washington, D.C., Lord, that's even standing in the midst of the president, Lord, asking for consideration for things happening even in North Carolina. Well, Lord, so we just thank you, Lord, for everything that is taking place. Lord, we invite you in, well, Lord, that you would have your way in each and every circumstance and every situation. Well, Lord, we thank and praise you, Lord, that we will come together, well, Lord, touching and agreeing. May not always considering everything that is being spoken and said, but Lord, but allow us to reason together. Lord, we thank you, Lord, that everything that's done is done for the people. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, do we have any additions or deletions to our agenda?
Motion to approve.
We do have,
We got some?
yeah, we do have added to our agenda the possibility of looking at the filing fees for the board and the mayor. And we do have some information as far as how much it is in our charter. So I'd like to add a consideration of looking at the filing fees to run for Board of Commissioners and the mayor. Is to add that to our agenda. Any other additions to our agenda? Do I have a motion to
Motion to approve it with the addition.
have a motion to approve with the addition, and that addition will go under new business, and it would be item D. Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. And if you will, tonight Commissioner Legg is with us, and he is over on the screen. Commissioner Legg had surgery and could not come to the meeting in person, so we will be, if he needs to make comments, we'll recognize him. Otherwise, when we do have a vote, you'll be able to see how he votes by just looking at the screen. All righty. The next thing on our agenda is something that, in fact, today I heard our interim town manager saying that he had been here 3 months, and it doesn't seem like it. It's gone by so fast. But I do want you to know that this evening is a special evening because this evening we'll be swearing in our new town manager. We did our due diligence. We did a process that did take some time, but we also did a process that we feel very comfortable that we've hired the best person for our job. So at this time, I'd invite Scott Mazaris and his family to come up right here, and I'll come down and join you, and we're going to swear him in as our new town manager. your name is right. Okay, you're good right there. First, I want to introduce his family. He has 3 children. This is Cooper. This is Briar. His wife Stacy, and they came to us by way of a long trip from Alaska. So just know that they're fine. You don't have that travel lag instead of jet lag. But we're very, very fortunate they're here with us. And if you will, raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible, and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as town manager for the town of Hope Mills. So help me God. Sir, congratulations. Yes, please shake Forrest's hand.
Welcome to the family.
I'm gonna shake your hand. Yeah. You get my lights off.
You have made my mask off. You just made my Really? Yeah, I was so worried about you because I knew you were
I'm
trouble.
trying to come out of it.
I know.
It's gonna take some time, but I'm
That's all
fine.
right. I'm with you. Yeah. It's just nice seeing
And
you.
yes, welcome his family, and we're proud to say that, and of course, Commissioner Legg, he's been able to witness this also, but the board went through a process of interviews and also tours of the town, and they've had, the candidates had an opportunity to see how Hope Mills works, and also had an opportunity to get to know the board members and the staff. So we welcome you, look forward to having a good time with you here at Hope Mills, and family, just know that we appreciate the support you're giving him, and anything we can do for the family, that's what Hope Mills is all about. Thank you. All right, next we have with us this evening, and yes, he's here. All right. We have a special presentation. It's Tobacco Epidemic Inside a Pandemic. It's presented by Travis Gear from Region 6, Tobacco Control Manager from the Department of Public Health. This is another outcome of our Mayor's Coalition. We did have special presentations that morning that we had our last Mayor's Coalition, and we felt it important that each of these presentations come to the town of Hope Mills, and it's particularly this one in the fact of what we've had and seen during this pandemic. So I'll turn it over to you, and thank you for being here this evening.
Exactly. Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Travis Greer. I'm a staff person at Cumberland County Department of Public Health. I'm a tobacco prevention and control manager, and we start talking tobacco, right? We kind of wiggle in our seat because we're in tobacco country in North Carolina. And we're also in NASCAR country. I see you like NASCAR as well. So NASCAR is home to North Carolina. A lot of drivers out in the Charlotte area and the Lake Norman area, which is that's where I grew up. And as I see the town of Hope Mills and see the lake out there, and some things that I thought of when I was eating dinner in my car in between work and coming here today, I thought of the words vibrant, healthy, safe. I mean, everybody was out getting active and so forth, but as mentioned, when I saw the lake, it brought back memories of when I earned my master's degree on the University of Lake Norman at North Carolina. You see, it wasn't a master's degree as far as a collegiate degree, but it was a master's degree in master crappie fisherman. Crappie is a type of fish, y'all. And I graduated from a minor boy to the master crappie fisherman. And what that entitled me to was that I could carry fishing rods in the back of my truck. I could chew tobacco at will, and I knew that a palm-sized crappie was the size, was a 5 pounds size of your hand, so you will. I say that to say tobacco is ingrained in our culture here in North Carolina. Is that feedback from me? I know that's
I
distracting
think
me.
is that from is
I maybe turn it down just a little bit.
Okay.
Speak too loud. Sorry. But it's ingrained in our culture. We know that. And The title of tonight's presentation is called Tobacco Epidemic and a Pandemic. I don't know about you guys, but I think we're all praising the Lord and thankful that we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with this pandemic. And however, we are still in a persistent epidemic. That's another term for tobacco use. It's persistent. You know, tobacco use, as you see on your notes page, I enclosed some documents in your packages tonight, a 2-page sheet and plus a little bit more in detail that I can't get into, but just more for your reading. But, you know, tobacco use is really at its all-time low compared to 50, 60 years ago. But still today, tobacco use still remains the #1 preventable cause of death and disease in the United States and in North Carolina. So I'll just overview some of those bullet points. So smoking costs a lot of money. So the health impacts of smoking, even secondhand smoke has attributable health care costs to those who get diseases and all those things related to that. You know, even though the adult smoking rate of cigarette products are low among adults, there are still disparities that exist in certain populations. As far as you know, Mr. Scott, Alaskan Native Americans, we have a pretty good, strong Native American tribes here in our area. We have the Lumbee close by, we have the Coharie, Waccamaw Sioux. So American Indians still have higher rates of tobacco use compared to the general population. Black African Americans as well have disparate rates of tobacco use and health-related disparities related to that. So smoking and COVID, y'all. You know, we know over time that smoking cigarettes has, weakened the immune system. That's a known fact, what cigarette smoke and tobacco does. You know, it lowers your ability to fight off infections and puts you at higher risk. So it's kind of some of the messages that we put out there as far as the public health department during this pandemic, like now's a great time to quit smoking, you know, because you up your body's chances to respiratory illnesses like COVID-19. And so encouraging people to call the quit line. So if you know of a family member who's ready to quit, that's a great resource. QuitLineNC.com, 1-800-QUIT-NOW. So one thing about it, I like this illustration by Brian King at the CDC. We have a tobacco prevention and control vaccine, and it's not a lab-produced vaccine, but it's a field-tested, evidence-based product over time that public health has put to practice to know how to prevent and reduce tobacco use overall. So you see there 100% smoke-free, tobacco-free policies, Tobacco 21, plenty of robust funding to do tobacco prevention control programs like myself here in Cumberland County. Easy access to clinical treatment as well, and hard-hitting media campaigns. That's kind of the 4 pillars of my work, and I do a lot of strategies and prevention work there surrounding those. So I want to commend the town of Hope Mills for being a vibrant, healthy community. This is my second time being here. I've been with Cumberland County now for a little over a year, and I come on right before COVID hit, but it's a beautiful town, and I understand that you guys have a pretty good, strong smoke-free policy. And one of the things that the Board of Health at Cumberland County is considering is strengthening their smoke-free policy to become a tobacco-free policy. A tobacco-free policy encompasses all tobacco products, to include electronic cigarettes, vapor products, smokeless tobacco, snuff, all the above. So with that being said, the Board of Health does have jurisdiction and the authority to put a Board of Health rule to have a tobacco-free policy across the county, which would include municipalities. However, as you see in your packet, second packet that you guys have, right, this rule can apply to all municipalities, but what Board of Health are liking to do is to gain support and understand what municipalities would like to do if they would like to sign up alongside the Board of Health rule to be included in that stronger tobacco-free policy. It's not mandated that they do that, but it also helps to have them at the table when they do so. Tobacco-free is good business. It's healthy, it's safe, it protects people who don't smoke, and also encourages people who do smoke to have an opportunity to quit. So on the back of your packets, that kind of page 1, you kind of see a dashboard there. There's not much gold and yellow. I don't know if you printed it off in color, but there's not much gold and yellow, y'all, with Cumberland County and the municipalities. So I said gold and yellow, purple and yellow. Yellow is smoke-free policy, understanding that Hope Mills has government buildings that are smoke-free. Well, your policy says that your parks are smoke-free, right? I'm sure y'all have some kind of questions. Well, if our parks are smoke-free, why aren't we colored in with that? Well, with the gold standard and to have that label, so you will, with the Tobacco Prevention and Control Branch of the Division of Public Health, there doesn't need to be any designated areas. There is like a disclaimer in there that says the town manager, which is you now, right, may designate areas on the town property to smoke. So it's not truly a 100% smoke-free or tobacco-free policy when there are designated areas. So it's just little nuances like that. But I say that to say that as your regional and your county employee, your county tobacco control manager, that I'm here to support towns and municipalities in strengthening their policies to include language that strengthens it, to support health, promote health, and all those things there. So I'll pause there for any questions and comments or any thoughts. So, yeah.
I will say that our library does have a sign posted because our library is considered Cumberland County Library too, and it does have a sign posted that it is there's tobacco-free policy for the library grounds. So that's within our park area, but
Yeah.
That would be the only area in our community that is actually considered completely smoke-free.
Yeah, due to the library being a county
Yeah.
building, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm not condemning what your policy actually says or anything like that, but just kind of give you an update where we are with tobacco use, the state of tobacco use, but just knowing that there's a guy and a person there at the county level to support towns in advancing what they want to advance as far as their agenda to support people in quitting smoking and making your municipality a prettier place, to not include smoke and vapor, all those things. So,
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Travis?
Really good.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Brewer, thank you very much for your presentation this evening. Sorry I couldn't be there to hear it in person. I've been a little wobble-headed this week with some surgery. But, I think we need to make things a little more clear when we have, no smoking signs. I wonder sometimes why we have no tobacco products. To me, it would make a lot more sense. And then there's no gray area. If you got tobacco, you're wrong. Don't get me wrong, I take it once in a while myself, I'm not a smoker. But what you're saying this evening, makes a lot of sense. And, sometimes we don't listen to it until it's too late. But I appreciate again for your information. And maybe we can pick up off of this and continue on. Thank you very much.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Legg.
He brought up a good point. You know, oftentimes when policy is written, I don't recall exactly when this policy was passed, but 10 years ago there weren't vape products and e-cigs and Juuls and all the above things on the market. So a lot of towns and counties are updating their language if they desire to do so to limit and make it clear, like you said, to be clear, like this is considered a tobacco product. A vape is in the class of tobacco products because it has nicotine in them, and nicotine is derived from tobacco. So that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming this evening. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mhm. And next, we have hurricane preparedness tips. And do we have somebody that's going to go over that for us, or? Anyone? No? Okay, well, I will just take it upon myself to help you with that. As you know, it is hurricane season, started June 1st, and the reason for putting this on our agenda tonight is because, of course, you know that Hope Mills has been through two tough hurricanes, Hurricane Matthew and Hurricane Florence. But the most important thing is that we learned from those and we prepared better each time because we learned some of the things that we weren't doing well. And one thing we did learn is that Hope Mills becomes sometimes an island when we have a lot of water because of the bridges and everything around us. And we also know that what we've learned is that our bridge and our dam withstood two major events, and that we now know that we don't let the water out. I think that's something that happens every time people want to know why we're not draining the lake when we have bad weather coming, but that's why our spillway is there. The other thing I think that for us the peak time has usually been between August and October, both of the most serious ones that landed around that time, and they are saying that this year they're anticipating 15 to 18 named storms. So this year looks like another year that we've got to be prepared. One thing that I do want to mention is that I received information from PwC, and I have requested some of their information for the town of Hope Mills. But you can go on the PwC site, and they have excellent information about how to be prepared for a hurricane. We also have on our website, our town website, information about how to be prepared. And then just know that within our community, we do have places that we can shelter in place. We have places that provide relief in cases when you are in some cases, we've had houses that have been completely covered with water when we've had extreme weather. So just know it's really important for the town to start thinking about and preparing for the what ifs, because we didn't think we had our 500-year storm, and we didn't think 2 years later we'd have another 500-year storm. So we got to make sure that this time we're prepared even more so, just in case. So that's what we need to do for the hurricane preparedness. Next thing on our agenda are public hearings. The first public hearing is annexation case A 2021-01 Deaver Circle Apartments Phase 3. The following described tract of land lies on the western side of Deaver Circle and the northern side of Hackberry Drive in the Rockfish Township. And I will turn this over to Mr. McLaughlin. And you do have a picture that was included with your the agenda on your table tonight.
Hello, Madam Mayor, Board. This is just the final step in the process. Deaver Circle, this is Phase 3. We have discussed this at plan review, and all departments are unanimously recommending approval of the annexation.
Okay.
But I don't open up the floor to any questions that you guys may have.
Okay, do any of you have any questions for Mr. McLaughlin? Okay.
Yes, ma'am, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Commissioner Legg.
Are we adopting the streets with this proposed annexation as well?
No.
No, sir. This annexation is only dealing with the land at the intersection of Hackberry and Deaver Circle. It does not trigger any improvements to any street roadways.
Okay, so that's the 4 new dwellings, right?
This development anticipates 3.
Okay, 3. It's already counted when you got them. Anyway, I just wanted to double check about the streets because, as you know, we're having some problems with some streets in that area because of the water level that we hope will be resolved pretty soon. But thank you very much for your answer.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. And is there anyone here that would like to speak against this annexation? Anyone in favor of this annexation? Seeing no comments?
Motion to close public hearing.
Have a motion to close public hearing. At this time, do we have action?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to voluntarily approve the annex ordinance A 2021-01 tied to the Deaver Circle Phase 3 development.
Okay, have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you. The next thing we have is consideration of an amendment to the Fayetteville Hope Mills 2014 annexation agreement, allowing the city of Fayetteville to annex property located west of Bingham Drive, adjacent to the Aaron Lakes West neighborhood. The amendment is the form of ordinance number NS 2021-07, and this is behind tab 4, and I'll turn this over to Mr. McLaughlin also.
Okay, Madam Mayor. As stated, this is tied to a request from the city of Fayetteville asking us to consider doing an amendment to the annexation agreement we have with them. It's tied to the existing Aaron Lakes West subdivision, which is located in District 6 of the city of Fayetteville. Access provided at the southwest intersection of Bingham Drive and Lake Ridge Drive. The southeastern boundary of Aaron Lakes West is contiguous to the 36.89 acre parcel located inside of the Town of Hope Mills municipal influence area. The large parcel inside of our MIA fronts approximately 60 feet off of Bingham Drive and is bordered to the south by the existing Courthouse Acres subdivision. The parcel in question has wetlands and flood zones that bisect the middle portions of the tract, rendering a significant portion of the site challenging for development. The location of flood zones and also they also present challenges related to connecting the overall parcel to Fisher Road for development. To the immediate east of the subject parcel is a 4.60 acre property developed with a cemetery and 3 single-family residential structures that all front off of Bingham Drive, further limiting future connections to existing roadways for the 36 acre parcel. Just south of the subject parcel is a 6.29 acre parcel at the intersection of Bingham Drive and Fisher Road that actually is located inside Town of Hope Mills limits. So it's kind of like an island where it is right now. There's also a church property adjacent to the parcel inside the town limits that was denied annexation into Hope Mills in recent years. In terms of our MIA, although the Town of Hope Mills recently revised our MIA boundary to distinguish between short-term and long-term development, the Hope Mills and City of Fayetteville MIA area still correspond to the current Hope Mills Fayetteville annexation agreement line. Now, as it relates to the agreement in general, the town has currently an existing agreement with City of Fayetteville that does outline parameters to redefine the annexation boundaries in unincorporated areas adjacent to each municipality. We've done this 3 times to date. It was done in 1991, tied to NC 59 and the Interstate 95 interchange. It was done again in 2010. The last 2 times it was done to benefit us. It was amended in 2010 to give us the Food Lion development at and Waldo's Beach. The last time it was amended was in 2014, tied to the existing Georgetown Estates development. If you recall, most of that development was in the town, but we were able to make a connection to an existing Fayetteville neighborhood because that portion had a small portion that was in Fayetteville MIA, and they amended it to allow us to annex in a portion of their MIA. So technically, they're ultimately asking us to do the reverse in this particular circumstance. In terms of the proposed project, the City of Fayetteville received a voluntary annexation petition from a developer interested in annexing 9.96 acres of the overall tract located inside the Hope Mills MIA into the City of Fayetteville. What you'll see here is if you see the shaded area to the north and then the dashed area that's highlighted, the area to the north is City of Fayetteville. That dashed area is the 9.96 acres of our 36 acre MIA that they want to utilize. They don't want to utilize the entire 36 acres, but they want to take 9.96 and annex it into the City of Fayetteville to expand the existing Aaron Lakes West development. As this proposed parcel is contiguous to the current boundaries of the City of Fayetteville, approval from the Town of Hope Mills will be required. The proposed expansion of Aaron Links West is an additional 38 lots with approximately 16 residential lots proposed on the 9.96 acres that they're trying to get from us. In terms of the Plan Review Committee, all departments, stormwater, public works, fire, planning, and inspections do recommend support of this request, and I'll go through some of these other maps for you as well. This is a map that actually is the plat for the subdivision layout. The area that includes the 16 lots that they're trying to get from us is highlighted in yellow. What you see here is an overall land use map, but the area in red there is a picture or a depiction of the 36 acres, and then you'll see that dashed area inside of it, which is the area they're trying to get. This is crucial because if you notice, going right through that entire area is a stream, and that is basically telling you the presence of the flood zones and things of that nature, which make a large portion of that 36 acres NIMIA very challenging for development. This is just an existing conditions map that shows you the location of the cemetery, the location of the subject property, the residential areas along Bingham, and the church along Bingham, but it's really meant to show you just how limited the access to Bingham Drive is for that area by MIA. And that's basically it. Again, staff recommendation is of approval of this request, but to highlight, to make that clear, City of Fayetteville is asking us to amend their annexation agreement with them. They have the annexation petition, but they cannot consider the annexation without a resolution approved from us to include in that. So ultimately, that's what they're asking us to do. This is technically not the City of Fayetteville, it's a developer asking them, but they can't consider the annexation without us agreeing to allow that 9.96 acres to be annexed into the City of Fayetteville. One thing that Plan Review staff did highlight as one of the major challenges is if we try to develop this because of in our limits, because of the limited access, more than likely emergency services would have to access our area through a City of Fayetteville development to get to it. That's where it's, because if you look at this map, there really isn't anywhere along Fisher or Bingham to be able to develop the area that we have in our MIA. So it's really like on an island. And so those were some of the factors that led to them, and all of us recommend approval of this request. But I'd like to open the floor to any questions that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I please?
Yes, sir.
I've been working with Chancellor on this for quite a while, and I met with, some of the people involved with this, along with Commissioner Edwards, at an earlier date, and I do believe that what we're facing here is to our benefit. It's gonna, if this passes, it's gonna take away us having to try to worry about how to get across that wetland, for just a few little houses. It keeps our vehicles, our police, our fire, our, sanitation trucks from going through that existing subdivision, which, by the way, is a family built subdivision. All they're wanting to do is really add to it, is my understanding. So, after further discussion, I'm prepared to make a motion if it's all right.
Any other discussion? Anybody? Okay.
We're breaking up here a little bit.
Or just seeing if anyone else had anything that they wanted to add to the discussion at this time. There isn't anyone. So if you'd like to make that motion. There is a resolution. It would be a resolution, Commissioner Legg.
Cannot hear anything right now.
Commissioner Legg, can you hear us?
I can hear you now, yes, ma'am.
Okay. We do have a resolution, so if you want to make that motion, there is no more discussion. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. We just have to wait a second. We've still got to see if there's any public input. This time we'll open the floor for public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this resolution, which would be to allow some changes in our MIA to allow Fayetteville to actually be able to annex this 9.9 plus or minus acres? Anyone in favor? Is there anyone opposed?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing. All in favor? Commissioner Legg, now you may make your motion. We have had no comments from the public.
Thank you very much. Chancellor, I appreciate all the work that you've done to this. And Ms. Evers, I thank you for your time of coming in and meeting with some of the people involved with this. But at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we do an annexation agreement, allowing Fayetteville to use the property that's necessary and approve number NS 202107.
Is that going to suffice? Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you. All righty. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing for the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget ordinance. And at this time, I'll recognize Mr. Zell. Is that who I'm going to recognize? I recognize Mr. Zell, our used to be interim town manager that has now given up his a private citizen now. Thank you so much, sir, for all your hard work, but we appreciate you helping with the budget.
Well, as you know, we have a balanced budget, $14.3 million. No tax increase this year. We feel like it's going to meet the town's needs for the service delivery. And just leave it at that.
Okay. And this time we'll open the public hearing, and with this, we can have input from citizens. If you do have something that you'd like to as far as give input, we need you to give your name and address, and you may come to the podium at this time if there's anybody that would like to speak in reference to the budget. No takers? All righty. All right, so
We need to close the public hearing.
well, thank you for closing the public hearing. All right, we have, I want to let everyone know that we have had a lot of time to work on this. Department heads have done a great job. Our finance director's done a great job. Of course, our interim town manager and the board. This is actually, we did 2 workshops, but we also had our budget retreat for planning. And the good news is it is a $14.3 million balanced budget with no tax increase for this year. So do we have any other discussion from the board?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a comment to the board. Out of the 4 years that I've served on this board, this is being my 4th year, this has been the most challenging, tight budget that I have seen come before the board. It's almost as tight as a flat line. It's that tight. And there's been a lot of discussion about it in our workshops. But there's a couple items that I would ask the board to consider. And one of them is that instead of a half-year COLA for our employees, I would like the board to consider a full-year COLA for our employees because they are the greatest asset that our town has. And I say that because they work day in and day out on delivering the services that are provided to our citizens. During a lot of research, I was looking at municipalities, and especially when I'm close to home and I see City of Fayetteville and Cumberland County, both are offering 3% full-year COLAs to their employees. I just think that our employees, we can't offer a 3% COLA, but I just think what we are offering, if we can make it a full year, would really go a long way to show appreciation to our employees for the services that they render to the town. The second item is dealing with the basketball court. I would like the board to seriously consider adding about $19,000 to the basketball court so we could put a fence around it with some gates so we can control the security and reopen the basketball court back to recreational use. And those are the two items that we've discussed at length. At least I've discussed at length, and the board has too. So I would ask humbly for the board to consider those two items in improving the budget. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other comments?
May I make a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and adopt the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget ordinance for Hope Mills.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor,
I
signify.
have a
Madam Mayor.
discussion.
Okay, all right,
Discussion.
all right.
On the agenda here, has consideration to adopt the fiscal year budget ordinance and adopt the proposed fiscal year fee schedule. Are we doing those
Two
both?
separate.
Two separate?
Two separate motions. They have to be, they're both standalones. Any other questions?
Mayor, my comment would be to Commissioner Edwards presented as presented, correct? Your motion is to approve the budget as
As
presented.
presented,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so any other discussion? So we have a motion.
Mayor, can I hear that motion again?
The motion is to approve the budget, the fiscal year 2021-2022 fiscal year budget as presented, $14.3 million with no tax increase, and have a motion and a second. Would you have any other comments? Okay, at this time, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the budget 2021-2022 fiscal year budget, all in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed? So budget passes with a 4-1. Next, we have consideration to adopt the proposed fiscal 2021-2022 fiscal year fee schedule. Any questions in reference to that? And that fee schedule you'll see in your packet that you were given. It has all the fees that are required. That would be page 29, page 30, 31, 32, goes all the way up to page 38. So is there any questions in reference to the fee schedule?
Madam Mayor, I make a
Yes.
motion to accept the 2021-22 fiscal year fee schedule.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? At this time, all in favor of adopting the 2021-2022 fiscal year fee schedule, please show by raise of your right hand. All in favor? So the fiscal fee schedule has passed. Next, we have public comments. Did we have anyone sign up for public comments? All right, no public comments today. Next, we have consent agenda. Is there anything that you'd like moved from the consent agenda to the new business? Anything on the consent agenda that you would like explained? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it is before you?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Next, we have from old business, consideration of ordinance amendment for the Hope Mills Lake Chapter 62 part. And this is behind Part B, and this is behind tab 10. And this was where we had the background information is when we asked and questioned an update to the lake ordinance related to the permitting of non-motorized boats. And you can see that it has, in the red, you can see what it was removed from the ordinance and what the permitting, is there any questions that anyone has in reference to this?
Madam Mayor, I don't have any questions, but since I was the one that brought it up at the last meeting, I think the revision in the ordinance meets exactly, Dan, what we were looking at replacing in the ordinance to take care of non-motor boats. And with that said, I'll make the motion, Mayor,
Okay.
that we approve ordinance amendment S 2021-8, Chapter 62, Parks and Rec, Article 2, Hope Mills Lake, Division 1, generally, Section 62-69, regular permits, Item B.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. The next item is a discussion of a Hope Mills Homeless Task Force. This was requested by Mayor Pro Tem McCray, and at this time, I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I emailed everyone, I think on Friday, of a growing number of, to me, of evidence that we do have a growing homeless population in the town of Hope Mills. I did talk to Chief Richard on Saturday, and he did give us an update about some of these populations that have been identified with our homeless population. I do know that there are a lot of homeless people that live right around here, around Town Hall. There is actually one that is currently sleeping in our porta-john out there. I'm not really for sure how he's sleeping out there, but he is. Early in the morning since the pandemic, I began to walk on the track more than I normally would. There is a gentleman that sleeps on that back parking lot sometimes, and so I am not, with this task force or this study group, I am by no means proposing that we will eradicate homelessness, but I do believe that I've asked a few individuals to serve on this task force. Mr. Morrison did volunteer to serve as a board liaison for this task force. I've also asked Mr. Grilly Mitchell, since he works a lot with the homeless population at the Alms House. I've asked Pamela Stevenson. She is the president of the Hope Mills Zetas, and she's also a social worker. And I've also asked County Commissioner Tony Stewart, since she does live in our MIA area, and she does work with the homeless population as well, to maybe get together some resources. Is just trying to find out to what extent do we have a issue with homelessness, and how can we help some of these individuals, even if it's just working with some nonprofits, getting some information together so that we can at least give our staff to help serve and help some of these homeless in Hope Mills, because we do know that there might be 10 or 15 or 20 today, but it'll certainly be 50 or 60 or 70 by the end of the year. And I am by no means, I know that we are low in police officers, and so I am not trying to push this off on them, but I do have a group of individuals who are willing to come together and work and come up with some resources that can help some of our homeless here in the town of Hope Mills. So what I'm asking the board to do, we can open it up for discussion, at the board's pleasure. I'm not for sure if we need to put it up for a vote or consensus to allow us to come together and find out and help with some resources to help our homeless population. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I will tell you that even this weekend, I too walked the track, and this weekend we did have a young couple. The young man and young lady concerned me yesterday morning because I questioned in my mind how old she was. They spent the weekend in our park. They slept one night underneath the shelter, my understanding is, and they used the bathroom underneath the shelter to clean up the next morning. This morning, when I was walking, I think about 6:30 this morning, is when they were located inside of one of the handicap porta-johns, and that's where they had spent the night. She's 17, he's 19, and I don't know any other details other than that concerns me. We do have a vehicle that parks in the parking lot that you will see that comes in, and they spend the night in the car. So I think when it's obvious that you can see people for whatever reason, I would like to offer that we also get in touch with Operation Inasmuch. And the reason why I say that is, and I guess Mr. Mitchell would be one that if he's willing to serve, since he works so closely with the almshouses, they have a method of actually IDing and identifying so that what they can do is keep up and make sure that they're safe. And when they come in for meals or for whatever, we don't have resources that they have there. But I too believe that we're getting more. And I will say this: neither of those young people actually lived in Hope Mills. The young lady, my understanding, lives in Rayford, and the young man lives somewhere else. But one thing that did happen from the police officer that spoke to me this morning was that because she's 17, they could contact Protective Services. Even though she is, most times you think 16 is the magic age, but in the case of homelessness, they can use that 18. So I agree. And if you would like, with the board's pleasure, I'd have no problem appointing that committee with the board's approval. And then if the liaison, we would need, I heard Pam Stevenson, Tony Stewart, Grilly Mitchell.
Mr. Morrison as the town liaison, and I'll serve as the board liaison.
Okay, and Lamarco, Morrison, and Mayor Pro Tem.
And if there's any other individuals that you all know that live in the town of Hope Mills or that could be a good resource for that committee, please let us know.
Okay. And there is a county homeless committee that we can get in contact with that serves Cumberland County. So that would be another opportunity for us possibly. Would we need a motion, Mr. Hartzog, or can we do this just by appointment with consensus, or would we need to put that in form of a motion? Okay. So is there anyone that has any concerns or is okay? Is everyone okay with this?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to, I'm okay with it. I want to kind of bring some attention to, there's a group of folks that are, it looks like they're living in tents. That's behind the VFW building, and I think Grilly would know where they are as well. And I don't know how long they've been there, but they're in that wooded area, and you can pretty much see them from the back of the VFW building, and you can see some of them from the road that runs right behind where the post office is. That property that they're on doesn't belong to the VFW. But there's a group of people that are living there.
And that is something too that I think I probably need to make aware, because I did look into it. If the property owner gives permission,
Right.
then
Right.
you cannot, there's nothing can be done. We do have someone that has lived on Trade Street for probably 12 or 15 years, that's by choice that he lives there in the wooded area. And we do have two that are right outside our of Hope Mills down near the Ladybug that have lived in that property, on that property, and it is by property owner's permission. So I think that would be the thing, would be again, making sure that we can find out if the property owner has given permission, but then we know that there's been some issues with them going to homes and using the spigots and the water sources outside of private residences. There's been a problem with trash. There's been a problem with abandoning a site and moving to another site. So those are all things I think we got to take a look at and see maybe this task force can come up with some ideas or suggestions on ways we can work with them. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. But I think it hit home this morning and yesterday when I was concerned about the young lady because she really did not look, she looked like she might be 14 or 15 years old. And she spent the weekend out here in between the two porta toilets with the young man. And I can't imagine sleeping in. It's just, you know, I think there's something we need to work on.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
the car in the park, is that a lady and maybe two young girls?
I wasn't
I'm
sure.
not really,
Yeah.
I've seen a car
Yeah.
like that, and it's on the other side of, it's not on this side, it's on the other
Yeah.
side. That's parked at different times there.
Right.
And it looks like they have towels
Through the windows.
through the
yeah.
window. Yeah, that's the same car. Mhm.
So I think again.
When I walk the track, and that's in the evening.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking we possibly, if nothing else, identify and then find out how we can help them. What can we do to, you know. Okay. All righty. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have discussion and possible action on CSX Johnson Street Sidewalk Project. And who gets to tell us about this? Mr. Cisco.
Madam Mayor, Board of Commissioners. Within the past few months, as y'all are aware, the Department of Transportation lifted the moratorium on funding for a number of projects throughout the state, and the Johnson Street Sidewalk Project was one that they lifted that moratorium on and gave us the go-ahead to proceed. With that, the CSX Railroad sent to our engineer a construction agreement for the town to sign, and literally buried within that agreement is an invoice for $121,000 for CSX services, for flagging, for safety, for engineering review, and things of that nature. One of the things that we had done was, or one of the first things that we have done is gone to the MPO and asked them, since this is an 80-20 split project with the FAMPO folks, we went to them and asked them if this would actually qualify for MPO funding. They've gone through their process, initial process, and gone to the state, and the answer right now is yes, it is eligible. The board will have to decide whether they're going to spend the additional money on it. The numbers break down for that $121,000, roughly $96,008 will be paid by the state and $24,000 by the town. It'll be rolled into the project itself. With your agreement, we will sign it, and then at some point in time, they will invoice the town for that $121,000 for payment. We'll have to pay it and then go back to the STIP funding for the 80% reimbursement. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that the railroad did. It's the third time they're dipping into our pockets now on this project.
And if I'm not mistaken, I know that I asked, and there's possibility because this is an infrastructure and it's also a safety thing, that it's possibly could be used from the money that we're going to be receiving through the American Rescue Act. And that was the tentative answer that I got, but because it's a infrastructure need, that would be also a safety issue because of the crosswalk that's going to be in that area. Because that's what they're charging us for, is while they...
For flaggers, and part of it is engineering review, but a lot of it is for flagging services and somebody to be on ground as a safety for the CSX. We did have to provide insurance information to meet their qualifications for it as well. But their preference is to have somebody on site.
Any questions from the board? I do know this is also, I know that the fact that we did have someone get hit by a train in that area, not that long ago, that's also another reasoning to make sure that it's safe as they're working on that area. So,
Madam Mayor,
yes, sir.
Don, I'd like to thank you for all of your guidance and input on this. I mean, when I first saw it, it was like a head shaker.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure you probably felt the same way when you saw it as well, along with Bill Zell. I mean, you sit there, and this is something that you do. You sit there and you shake your head and say, what is this? And how did he get here? And now I've got it, so now I've got to do something with it. And I think the 80-20 split through FAMPO and like the mayor said, the project probably will qualify for funding as well through the ARP program. So nobody has any other questions or comments, I'll just go ahead and make a motion. Yep. Make a motion that we approve the construction agreement with CSX invoice of services in amount of $121,084 and continue to discuss with FAMPO the possibility of including this charge in the 80-20 split by way of a supplemental agreement.
Okay. Have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Commissioner Legg, are you in favor? Thank you, sir.
Yes,
All right, the next one is, consideration of bid acceptance for Lake Park additional parking. And who has this one? All right, Bruce, is this one yours or Don?
It's a twofer, Don.
Yes, sir. Okay, what you have in front of you is the bid package, the certified bid package for the Fountain Lane parking lot. The bid came in at 88,000 and some change. I don't have the exact number in front of me. And it's for your consideration. I will see if I can answer a couple questions before they even get asked. I do realize that this is considerably more than what we paid for the Gulfview Greenway parking. There were a couple things that are playing into this escalation. First of all is the construction escalations, all the pricing. As we all know, we're up about 30 to 40% for construction off the top. And then this one, in addition to putting down crush and run, which is essentially what it is, plus a driveway, all the trees that go down the sides and the back of that property are going to have to be taken out in order to make enough room for this parking lot. And then also there's fencing that has to be put up for buffering. And then, of course, the board requested us to add lights and gates for the project as well. So that's why the price is coming in at 88,000. And then funding, I can't speak absolutely intelligently on, but I did ask Drew to be prepared if y'all have any questions on the funding, that we'd be able to come up with it so that it can be funded and we can finish this project.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Cisco?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
oh,
All right.
go ahead, Commissioner Legg. I'll come in behind you, sir.
Would this be paid in this year's budget,
Yes.
or is it all, okay, it's already covered in the budget?
55,000 of it was covered, it
Not all
was
of it.
budgeted for.
Then we're gonna get the rest of it.
Drew's gonna find it.
Drew's gonna write us a check.
We'll make it work. If not, you'll have a budget amendment at the next meeting.
Great.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Bruce, this is head shaker and number 2.
No, I'm Don.
Don, sorry.
Remember, I'm the younger, better looking of the two of us.
I was looking at Bruce and I said, anyway, this is head shaker number 2. Once I looked at the CSX and then I got to this one on the agenda, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, I had to go back and pull some research too, and I said, you know, how in the world can a company charge us $88,500 for this lot when we paid the same company about $37,000 for 24 spots down at the golf course? And what was in this? And then I looked at the bids and I said, well, Diamond is 88.5, then Barnhill comes in at 120. That's a $40,000 swing. So what's unique about this project? So that's the reason I asked you earlier, what's included in this project? Because we're only going to get 8 crush and run spots for vehicle parking, and then I think 2 trailer spots. So what is the additional money for this project for over top of the $55,000? And it's a talked about one too. I mean, a lot of folks were shaking their head like, what is included here? So when you told me what was included, which is the clearing of all the trees, which is a significant amount, the board approved the gate. We approved lighting. That's included in the project. There's sloping and additional crush and run that runs all the way behind Big T's up to the curb. That's going to be additional that goes into this project as well.
And fencing.
And the fencing. Then you got the buffers. That's on one side of Mr. McLean's property, and then on the other side of Mr. Gardner's property. All that's included in the project. So we're not just talking about crush and run for 8 spots, vehicle spots, and 2 trailers. We're talking about a lot of different activities that are associated with this project at one time. And once you digest that, then it starts to make sense and say, well, okay, now I see why it's about 30,000 and some change more that Drew's got to go find. So I appreciate the conversation and the education on exactly what added to this, because a lot of times it's not in the bid package. These are items that come out during the whole project itself. If anyone else has any questions, I'll make the motion, Mayor, or someone else can.
Any other questions or comments?
Madam Mayor, I just like to say that one of the reasons why I did back off of the budget and using extra money is because of stuff like this. And so, so when I saw this is one of the reasons why I think that we probably just needed to pause it where we were with the budget. But I agree with you, Commissioner Bellflower.
Okay, so we'll make the motion, sir.
I'll make the motion. I mean, I think we're getting our money's worth here. I really do. And Diamond is a first-class company too to work with. So I'll make the motion that we approve the bid acceptance of the Lake Park additional parking with Diamond Contractors in the amount of $88,500.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Seeing none opposed. Thank you, sir. Okay, next, the manager's report. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, whew. No wonder. I buried it over here. I do have the information on our, when our filing fees were done, and it was signed by Mayor Deaver, and it was in 1997. So our filing fees were at that time, to file for the office of mayor is $10, and to file for the office of a commissioner was $5. And it said that they shall remain fees approved by the Board of Commissioners until otherwise amended. So this was done on the 16th day of June, 1997. So the question was today from the Board of Elections, and also, I guess, we've got some information from other municipalities, but the question was, is it time for us to raise those fees? Because it doesn't cover really anything in what they have to do at the Board of Elections. So I open the floor up for discussion. Anyone have, I'll give you an example, from, I'm trying to see where this one's from. Kernersville, they pay $20 for candidates for mayor and $10 for the board members. This one is from,
Page on the back, looks like everybody agrees.
yeah. Go to the very back and let's see what it says. On the very back, it's got, City of Fayetteville, the mayor is $325.18. City council is $177.79. Eastover is $5. Most of the smaller towns is $5. And then Town of Spring Lake is $15 for the mayor and $15 for aldermen. So the wishes of the board, what your thoughts are on this?
Madam Mayor, it's worked well since 1997. Maybe we should just leave it as it is.
Any other thoughts?
What brought about the inquiry?
What brought about the inquiry, Ms. Starling?
I received an email from the County Board of Elections asking if our fees were gonna remain the same, and my initial reaction was, what? I didn't think we chose those, and they responded that yes, we did, and so I reached out to the board, and, I was asked to gather some additional information, which I have provided you. Said I can go back tomorrow and tell them, no, we're not gonna change anything. That's the board, if you wanna change something, we can. But it was just purely an inquiry from the Board of Elections that prompted it.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to make, to remind us that when we do go and file and all, and they bend over backwards trying to help us with it. And if we need any information or copies of anything as far as who registered before or registered voters and all, they've been more than willing to help us and get us copies of it. And I don't remember us paying for any of that. So, I mean, I think raising it to $10 wouldn't be bad.
Thoughts?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Now, I do recall briefly when I read that email that they did say that if Fayetteville does not go forward, that we will end up having to spend more money because they usually bear the cost of most of the cost with the elections, and they may or may not have elections this year, and so we would have to end up paying more money this year. Not saying that the $5 or $10 is gonna make a big difference, but just saying.
At least they know we're trying.
Yeah.
Well, the town of Spring Lake, which is, we're larger than Spring Lake now, and their fees are 15 for mayor and 15 for alderman. I mean, they've gone up. I don't know, I don't have any idea when they went up, but they are comparable as far as, we're actually larger than they are now. So, and I think the way the city of Fayetteville's, isn't that 1% of the salary they earn? Is that what it is?
That's correct.
So, that's how they figure theirs.
I'm okay with 15 for mayor and 10 for commissioner.
I am too.
Commissioner Legg, do you have any input on this? The suggestion is 15 for mayor and $10 for commissioner to change our fees for filing.
Did he hear you?
Okay.
I don't think he heard you.
So we would just need to, okay. Commissioner Legg, we're looking at, Commissioner Legg, there's a recommendation that we change the filing fees for $15 for the mayor and $10 for a commissioner. The last time that our fees have been updated was in 1997. I don't know what it was prior to that. It couldn't have been much. Any thoughts? Sir, let's do it. Okay. So all right, we would need then to just have the resolution then, Mr. Hartzog, the resolution would just have to then change, we can actually use this one, just put the new amounts in and date it. Okay, so if you'll do that we could have this resolution ready for the next meeting, so that way it could be filed. So do we have a motion to, I think Commissioner Legg was actually making the motion too, wasn't he, to approve it? Yes, he did. So we have a motion to do a resolution to have the filing fee for mayor be changed to $15 and the filing fee for a commissioner to move to $10. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All in favor. Thank you very much. So if we can put that on our next agenda, the resolution for approval. Okay, now manager's report.
Each of you should have a memo from Scott Garner.
Yes.
Up there, regarding the mishap at the construction site, Memorial Weekend.
Yes.
It tells you exactly what happened and how it was taken care of. So we wanted you to have that information.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I
Yes,
want to
sir.
add a comment to that I was on the track when I guess the original team, because I saw Beth out there first at the site. When I was walking the track, it was like a whole bunch of folks were gathered there around that manhole cover. I guess that's where it was. No, it wasn't there? Oh, okay. Well, I saw you guys up there with that manhole cover, and I thought maybe that's where it was. Okay.
Yeah, our staff was great. It was a holiday weekend,
Yep.
which caused the issue because the contractor, who knows where they were.
Yeah.
So they kept telling us 5 hours away, and 6 hours later, they were still 5 hours away. 24 hours later, they were still 5 hours away.
5 hours away.
But Tuesday it became a priority. So, it was good. Good of them, I guess. But it's taken care of. So we wanted you to know exactly what happened.
Okay. Any other information?
You have a new town manager,
Yes, sir.
and I like that.
It's kind of fortunate that this happened, because had it happened at the Capitol, it would have been additional cost, and it would have caused a lot more from right-of-way acquisition and paving the lines. And it's kind of fortunate that it happened, although holiday Memorial Day weekend probably wasn't ideal.
But, Madam Mayor, the point I was making was our staff was there, they were on it, even though it was Memorial Day weekend.
Bruce and Beth was there the whole time. Plus, I was working with Chuck, with the fire department, and Drew was busy with Brad and with Scott. So, I mean, there were several people working on this thing that whole weekend. So, the staff, like I said, the staff is fabulous.
Mhm.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Bill, can I ask you about the removal of the trees from Hope Mills Lake Park?
With the rainforest tree?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of discussion on the removal of the trees and the why. I think I know the why.
I have an answer, Bill, in my Parks and Recs
Oh,
report.
you do? Okay.
it says that all of those trees were diseased and they needed to be taken down, and that they are too close to walk by and the roots would interfere with the pavement. There were 4 trees that be cut down, but 4 elm trees that would be planted in their place. But all of the trees are diseased trees.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All righty, now we'll move down to of course, we have our reminders of things that are coming up. I do want to remind everyone that this Saturday we do have our pop-up art festival, and we do have the unveiling of the Friends of the Hope Mills Library Park, and we'll have the unveiling of our new statue that is of Dodge, the horse, and Dodge's mama's here tonight with us. But we have a good history behind both, and one is that the Friends of Hope Mills Library was organized in 1989, and it was appointed by Mayor Al Bradford, and there was 10 members appointed to that committee, and that committee went right to work, and they actually got the land donated for the current library. They raised money to purchase books and also to volunteer to help get that library organized. The first officers of that were Doc Brower, president. The vice president was Janet Gardner. The secretary was Verna Hash, and the treasurer was Doris Luther. At that time, back in 1989, they then changed from a committee to a named Friends of the Hope Mills Library. And that Friends of the Hope Mills Library grew to a membership of 173 people who spent a lot of time and effort and raised a lot of money. When it came time for the library to open in 1992, the goal was, the money that they had in the bank was to purchase a clock to go out in front of the library, a clock very similar to what we have down on the corner of Main and Trade. DOT would not approve them putting the clock in the right-of-way. There wasn't a spot that they could find that they could get approved, so over time, what happened was nothing happened. So the money was left in the bank. Doris Luther realized, and she is bedridden, she's at Hope Mills Retirement Center, she realized that money was still there and she wanted something done with it before the money would be gone and nobody would really realize it. At that point, we realized it had been escheated to the state of North Carolina, and it took us over a year to get the money released to the town of Hope Mills. All in all, it ended up that the decision was made, and Doris Luther and several of the other ladies that are still alive, decided that they would like to have a park. And so we have what's going to be called the Friends of the Hope Mills Park, Friends of the Library, and it's right beside the retention pond, the stormwater feature out there. The new fence has been put up, a park bench, thankful to our Parks and Rec Director, Lamarco Morrison. He has actually drawn a landscaping plan. And along this same time, what happened was Dodge, the horse, who was a longtime resident of Hope Mills, in the city limits on Johnson Street during the pandemic, all right, Dodge passes away. And there was a concern that we needed to somehow recognize Dodge because of all the people that would go by there and take care of, feed him or whatever. So our Marco and our Parks and Rec Committee, along with our previous town manager, came up with the idea of an iron sculpture. So that also will be unveiled on Saturday, and the time for that is 11 o'clock. What I can tell you is, and this is, I think, is important, is no taxpayer dollars have been spent on any of this. We got the almost $23,000 from the Friends of the Hope Mills Library. We've received 2 grants. One most recent that I got a notice from the Cumberland County Fayetteville Arts Council that they had some money that they needed to spend before the end of the year, June 30th. I wrote a grant and we received $4,750, which took care of not only the finishing up the park, but also the second mural on Trade Street, which also will be unveiled, and that's Hope Theater. So again, these are amenities through grant writing and through the committee that was here 1989, so it's been a long time. But it fits right into our 130th birthday celebration, and this is another opportunity for us to recognize those people that came before us, the ideas that they had, the energy they had, and not only that, the ability to do such things as raise so much money and also do everything. They went to the courthouse to convince the county commissioners to put that library here. And so there's just a lot of history there that I think is important for us to remember and recognize. But Doris Luther will video everything to send to her. Dot Brower, the president, is still alive. However, she's at Village Green Retirement Center. So neither of the most active residents that were involved were able to be here in person, but we just look forward to that happening on Saturday. The mural Hope Theater is going to be on the building, the metal building that's Hope Mills Insurance on Trade Street. That building is, part of it is where Pam Smith Cruson works, and she and her partner there are very concerned because Hope Theater was not only special to them, but that's where the theater used to stand. It is going to be, the grant for it came through the Fayetteville County Arts Council. What's important about it is that the drawings and the sketches were done or were authorized by Lawrence Smith. And Lawrence Smith, of course, passed away this year also. So what's happening is this building will have that mural on the end of it, and it's going to, one of the marquees says in loving memory of Lawrence Smith, and then his favorite movie is on the other side. But that will be, instead of being installed Saturday, it will be June 17th at 4, primarily because what has happened is the weather and the humidity has caused the paint to have to take a little longer to dry. But that's just an update on what's happening this Saturday. But the Pop-Up Art Festival, we were able to do this because we feel like it's not going to cause a large number of people to be here, but it'll be enough people that appreciate art that'll give us an activity here in Hope Mills. Commissioner Edwards, what do you have as far as the Appearance Commission and Mid-Carolina Council of Government as far as update?
Okay, the Appearance Commission will meet the 22nd of this month. Mid-Carolina, we had a line meeting Thursday on June 1st. Mayor Warner gave us an update on the senior Tar Heel legislator. Carla Smith gave us a 2021 provider-client demographics schedule, and I mentioned earlier about us not having a senior center, but anyway, just to show you the regional senior centers, we have 2 in Cumberland County. It's Fayetteville Senior Center and Spring Lake Senior Center. Harnett County has 2 senior centers, the Coates Senior Center and Dunn Senior Center. Sampson County has 2 senior centers, Garland Center and Roseboro Center. And I have visited 6 of them, well, all 6 of them, and they're really, really nice. They're huge, they're beautiful. I'm not saying we need anything like that, but I still feel we do need something in Hope Mills. The demographics by county is what she's given us. I'm just going to give the ones for Cumberland County. We have 735 male, and in Cumberland County we have 1,467 female. The ages from 0 to 59 is 132. Ages 60 to 64, 911. Ages 75 to 84, 643. Ages 85 plus, 516. We have total clients of 2,208 in Cumberland County. And I thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to share it with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. And Appearance Commission? Do you have anything from them? Appearance Commission?
Oh, they don't meet until the 22nd.
Okay.
They didn't give me an update.
Okay. Commissioner Legg, do you have anything? Or I know that Commissioner Bellflower's attended the Historic Commission. Did you attend it for him this past time, or no?
I'm going to attend it for him on Wednesday,
Okay.
the one this week.
Okay. All righty. So update will be coming at our next meeting. All right. How about Veterans Affairs, Commissioner Marley?
Yes, ma'am. They did meet on the 24th, and pretty much just finalized the Memorial Day ceremony for the 31st of May, which went very well. It was very well attended, and our Veteran Affairs Committee did an outstanding job on that. And if you don't mind, if you would recognize Mr. Grilly Mitchell to come forward. He asked speak on behalf of the
Okay.
committee.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Commissioners, town staff, citizens. The VAC met, as Commissioner Marley said, just received notice that Jim Blevins resigned from the HVAC, and he stated the reasons to you all why he resigned. We plan for the Heroes Homecoming. That's in process. We request that we cancel the rest of the HVAC meetings for June and July. I received an email from Commissioner Bellflowers requesting answers to questions, and I'm here to answer those questions. That's why I'm here now. First, I received the text. And the text said, I am requesting an answer regarding the reason why the Clark family was not invited to the ceremony. Had no problem with that. I expect an answer by 12 noon. I have a problem with that. The last time anyone addressed me that manner, they was paying me 6 figures. Nobody paid me nothing to do this job. I do it because I care, because I choose to. Received another email, and I didn't respond to it. I did not respond to that text. No need to. Nobody talks to me that way. I don't care who you are. I refuse to acknowledge and answer anything from anyone in that manner. There is a process that is in place. Just like there's a process when you select me to serve on the committee, there's a process in place that one should follow when they need information and request information. If I'm not mistaken, that process should be the town manager and Jane to the town liaison. Liaison contact me, I in return respond. It's a process, a respectable process that should be recognized and must be followed in order for the integrity of something be organized and be effective, no matter where you at. That's the only way in order for us to fix problems that we create that we don't need to create. Now, I'm gonna deal with the facts. First of all, let me go back. To answer another question, what happened? Plain and simple, miscommunication. The marijuana is not responsible for the HVAC. She did not vote on the decision to dedicate that plank to the Clark family. She do not make that decision. The Board of Commissioners does. That's who makes the votes. The town manager received an email back in March from a member of the Clark family commending the town for making the decision to change the name of the park. Ron Murray came back and informed us that the family had been informed. That's like he found out by someone at VFW Post 630. Don't know who they was in contact with. Fact, the last time I spoke with anybody in the Clark family was March or April of last year when we discussed Miss Jean's memorial, and it was postponed due to COVID. That's my last known communication with the family. I made several attempts to reach out. I was not successful. So again, I reached out to Ron Murray. I said, Ron, could you reach out to your point of contact and let them know we're moving forward? I contact the individual myself and say, listen, could you relate to the family that there's an event going on? We'd like for them to be present. I was in return was told, hey, I reached out really, I have not got a response. Could you do it again? They did. Could you do it again? They did. That's all we can do. We cannot make no one reach out to us. Whoever was their point of contact, I was hoping that they was in contact with the individual. The information was placed on Facebook. Again, I'm gonna say this. Miscommunication, sometime it happens. We had mission success. The goal was to name the park Jim and Jean Clark. We did. We was successful. We was effective. Everybody commended us on the success of what happened. I would not allow negative feedback or pushback to tarnish something that was meant for good. If that's the approach we got to take, y'all don't need my services serving in this town, period. There's a whole lot of things I can do with my time. But I will fight and stand because I care for the veterans, for the family members, and for everybody that live in this town. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like me. But I tell you what, when I fight, I fight. When you bring it so that we can fix it. Because I refuse to allow something to destroy the great event that we had on that day in honor of those two great individuals that served this town. And I'm sorry, I apologize to the family that they missed this opportunity, and I accept responsibility because I am the chairman of that committee. As a leader in the military, when my soldiers messed up, even though it was their fault, I still accept responsibility. So I accept responsibility for that miscommunication. With that note, I'm done. Any questions for me? All right.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray, Parks and Rec Advisory, Coleman County Air Quality, and Prime Movers.
I'll let Mr. Jarrell McGeechee speak about the prime movers first.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to come up and speak, and I do apologize for my tardiness, and I haven't been here for the last couple of meetings. Of course, I coach my little boy's baseball team, so family first. No, love you guys, but y'all come second to my little boy. I want to say thank you, of course, Dr. McCray, she'll probably speak more on it. Thank you to everyone that came out for the Hate U Give on Saturday, the police department, fire department, everyone that came out and represented. It was very well needed discussion. Hopefully it can happen again in the town of Hope Mills. Of course, the mayor was there, and Dr. McCray was very, very well discussion on everyone's behalf. And of course, I know Dr. McCray may give more events on that. It's ironic that we talked about the homeless population and Operation Inasmuch. On the month of April, I believe it was, our committee, we did a hygiene event for Women's Month actually, and we was well known about it. A lot of people in the Cumberland County heard about it, to include Operation Inasmuch as well as some fraternities. So they want to partner with us in the future, in the next month or so, and we're going to do a month-long hygiene, personal hygiene event, and this one will be extremely, extremely big, I'm sure. We also have an upcoming event, possibly a PTSD event, which I will get with Commissioner Marley and Mr. Mitchell as well. PTSD being here in Cumberland County, Fort Bragg military, PTSD not only military but people that's not in the military is a big deal. So we want to possibly work with commissioners and committees with the PTSD event. Also, we're in the process of finishing up our 501c3. Well, about halfway through with it, and we're going to work with hopefully our town attorney will assist us with some what we call pro bono services, since this is a town committee, and he's smiling, so that's a good thing, of course. We have more upcoming events that we plan, and I promise you, you guys will love these events. I'm not going to speak on them because it's not in stone yet, but I promise you the next few months we're having these events. We're going to partner with other organizations and other committees, and I'm certain you all will love them. It'll be for the young, the seasoned, the middle-aged, the bald head, the long hair, the everything in between. So thank you for this moment, and we look forward to seeing you guys again in our committees and our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Air Quality Stakeholders Committee did not meet as quarterly, but the Parks and Rec meeting, we did meet on May 24th. So the information that I'm giving you is current from May 24th. At that point, Mr. Morrison hoped that the marquee by the lake will be done by mid to late June. There was a delay in the getting mulch to complete landscaping at the town lake, which we heard tonight. There's any kind of construction project or landscaping projects like that, there is a shortage on certain items. They are also working on getting surveillance cameras in the park and signage to help with vandalism in the playground area, the basketball court, and the skate park. They also hope to get additional cameras in the future at the lake and the golf course. I did bring up a conversation to them. I had citizens complain about aggressive dogs while walking on the track. I see them sometimes as well. We certainly don't want to restrict people from having their dogs, but they're going to probably work on getting more signage, hopefully, to help. Because I asked them, had a dog ever gotten loose at the park? And they said no. But there are some big and aggressive dogs out there sometimes, and our owners seem to have a struggle with them. So they're going to work with some signage, and maybe that will help some of the owners not bring their pets if they can't control them, but try to control them. And Heritage Park, the survey work was done. The restroom in the chapel had been added to the plan, and the design process is estimated to take 6 weeks and construction 13 weeks. We've already discussed the trees. Mayor Warner has already discussed the arts projects that's going on. And there is just a reminder that they are having a tournament, the Dixie Youth Softball Tournament, June 18th. They have 21 teams, and on June 26th, they have a coach pitch district tournament. It's also a reminder that on June 1st, fall sports registration started to include football, cheerleading, outdoor soccer, volleyball, and fall baseball. And we are having fireworks. That's another reminder, but the other festivities have been moved to Old Mill Day. So we will still have fireworks on July the 3rd. And I think that's it.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. All right, I'll start with the Mayor's Youth Leadership Committee. We did get word today that we have been recognized now as a state youth council. There's 2 in Cumberland County, of course, Fayetteville City, Cumberland County, and now Hope Mills has their own. We did get confirmation. We'll get an official charter, and they will come and swear in our Mayor's Youth Leadership Council. But we're looking at asking them to do it in August when we actually start the new one. But if not, if they want to, they'll come June 21st to swear in the current one we have. So that was good news today, and I do want you to know that that was youth-led. I had to fill in paperwork and sign my name, but they initiated it. They did the videos. They did everything to apply to the state, so I'm very proud of the group this year. FAMPO, we do have a meeting coming up. I do want to mention that Fayetteville did do a resolution for Highway 59 to take the 59 off of it from Dutchess Lane up to Rayford Road, which means gives us the whole now road that they can refer it now to a secondary road and hopefully move the trucks off of Main Street and onto 162. A question that was brought up during that time is that we own, or the town street is Lakeview Road. And the question is, do we not want to put signs there that does not allow trucks to come down Lakeview? And they're doing it all the time. We have a resident on Lakeview that is kind of keeping a little checklist off of the number of 18-wheelers that come down the road, and we're concerned about the weight on the bridge. So that was brought up. The next thing is we have a meeting coming up with Richie Hines and Drew Cox, who's taken Greg Burns' place, in reference to what we're doing up and hopefully opening up an area up there for Village Shopping Center. Walmart has come to the table now, so the possibility is improving the intersection where the light is going into Walmart, so that that's more user-friendly and that both shopping centers can benefit from it, but that's in the works. We have not met, Fayetteville Common Economic Development has not met at all. we do have a 130th anniversary birthday or celebration meeting, and that's Thursday. We're going to try to meet at 5 instead of 5:30. That, and the reason for that is we're going to meet in person as always, but we felt like if we could get the ones here at 5, we wouldn't keep them very long. Tier 1 is meeting on June 14th, and that will be at 6. And Tier 1, the topic for this next one will be senior centers, and we're also going to fall back on what we talked about when we looked at the possibility of an aquatic center with bringing in some other information from what we dealt with the last time. And the Arts and Heritage Committee, we did have a member on Saturday, or a person that was at the meeting on Saturday that said they had completed an application, and we did, so we got 3 more applications. So did we get a new one from Saturday? I don't know.
I received a new one a week or 2 ago.
Okay. Okay, we want to encourage again, because we've been very fortunate working with the Arts Council, and if we had a committee that could work with the council instead of myself or Dr. McCray, it would really be beneficial to let that committee do the planning and also help with writing of some of the grants. So we're pushing for anybody that would like to join the Art and Heritage Committee so that they can work closely with the Fayetteville Cumberland County Arts Council. And that's all I have. All right, staff comments? And we and we appreciate you being here with us. And now you can go home and go golfing, fishing, traveling. No fishing, just golfing. Golf and travel. Well, we appreciate everything you've done for us, and we'll make sure we keep up with what you're doing over there too. Oh, okay. It sounds like fun. Yes, sir.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
So as I look around, I being new, the meeting is a little unusual. We didn't get a manager's report because I was only able to have about 2 hours in my office this week. But I did see a lot of things, and I look around and see the faces, Drew and Jane. And I'd like to thank Mr. Brazil. He's been very professional. He's kind of made the transition easier for me if that's ever possible, and I sincerely appreciate that. And Drew as well. But I just, I've met with a lot of caring people. Coming in to fill the shoes of anyone is always a challenge, and there's a lot of passion and caring in this community. My wife and 2 of my 3 children are here, and it just feels right. I feel very empowered that you have a really quality team. I know, the budget, there's going to be change orders, there's going to be shortfalls with training and staffing, and as the community grows, those numbers are going to be increased and our demands are increased. But the service and the dedication, one of the things that really stuck with me, and I wouldn't have noticed it if Marco hadn't said it. We were driving the golf course and trail, and he's like, "You don't ever see trash here." And that didn't really resonate with me until I looked around. The dedication that your staff gives to Don stop several times, go to the road, pick things up. You just have a really quality crew, and I hope to live up to represent them and to help them and empower them, because they obviously will empower and already have assisted me and the council and the commission. But I just really feel like, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to serve you. I don't want to be too speechy, but I know my family's excited. I look around, I see a ton of people that I just am really thankful to, and it's going to take some time for me to get up to speed, but I hear what you're saying with some of the projects and some of the issues and everything we talked about tonight. They showed me, everybody's kind of been there, and so I'm not up to speed, but I feel like I was prepared to jump in. I just feel like this is a really great community, and I appreciate the community and everyone for bringing me here. I look forward to doing great things. There's going to be issues. Our police department is short. The budget's always a key. I know we have key people. We want to keep those people, but we also want to continue to grow. We want to, and with Dan, I look forward to kind of empowering my knowledge and growth. And I do want to apologize. our representative with the VAC is here and vocalize his concerns, and that's a concern to me is, volunteers and people that, and yourselves, donate their time. We want to be empowered and we want to make a difference, and they're going to do that even if they're not compensated or feel like they're getting it. But I know the Clark family deserves to be reached out to, and my number is 4114, and I don't have any cards yet, but I definitely want to be available and out there, and I look forward. We have a lot of stuff coming up on Saturday and every day. But that's enough of me. I just really want to say I appreciate everyone's assistance, and hopefully I can be as quality a person in this position as what you have around you. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Hartzog? All right, any official comments? Commissioner Legg, do you have anything? Yes, do you have, I've got official comments now. Would you have anything you'd like to say?
You're talking to me, yes. I would like to welcome Scott and his family here with open arms. I hope we have a long relationship to the town. Make yourself free to contact me anytime I can help you. And I'll try to be well. Mr. Zell, to you, thank you very much for all your hard work and your time that you put in with us. I think you've done a fantastic job. I'm glad that we got the budget done. I'd like to thank Drew and all the department heads and the staff for getting this budget ready, and under the circumstances, he needs to be commended for being under the pressure that we've been under for the last year or so. So with that, I'll rest my case, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, and we're glad you could be with us this evening. Glad you're feeling better. Okay, Commissioner Marley?
Yes, ma'am. I'd too like to thank Mr. Zell for what he's done. Also, the work on the budget that Mr. Zell and Drew and the rest of the department heads and everybody put into it. I know the board, probably had to make an unpopular decision tonight with employees and some other aspects, but we have to do what's best for the town. And they presented what we asked them to present, and that's what we approved tonight. Also, at the beginning of our budget meeting, Mr. Zell had a few comments for the board, and I think we should look at those comments that he made, and I'd like to see us enact one of them, really, and I'll open up for discussion with the rest of the board, see how they feel about it. But when he mentioned the agenda, I really think it's a good idea that, if a board member, we always preach, we want transparency, people want transparency with the board. So I think it'd be a good idea that we move forward with the agenda process, that if a commissioner wants to add an item to the agenda, that we just don't call Jane and automatically have it added to the agenda, that we bring that forward at a meeting. If we have an item that we want to have put on the agenda, we bring it to the board at a meeting, and we vote to whether to put it on the agenda or not. And I'd be glad to have Mr. Zell explain that process again. I know it's something that we haven't done here since I've been on any of the boards that I've been on. We just kind of always made a phone call, but what he was saying was kind of true. So I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that. I would like to see us go to that system. It may cut down some things on the agenda that, you know, if it's not important enough for, you know, that three of us want to talk about it, then maybe it don't need to be put on the agenda. The other thing I think we need to really work toward and concentrate on is, you know, make sure that we do go through the town manager. We need to respect the town manager enough to go through him, and let him deal with his staff, and us not try to overpower that. I know we know a lot of the staff, and, you know, we always talk in passing and stuff, and, you know, sometimes we may do things that we don't actually know that we're doing. But we need to make sure we go through him on that. So that's what I have, but I'm really interested in moving forward that process for adding agenda items. And also, and one more thing, and I don't know what we'd have to do. I talked to Mr. Zell a little bit. He said he felt like maybe just a consensus of the board would suffice for that. Or, you know, we need to discuss it, maybe take some kind of action on it, whatever we need to do.
It's already part of your agenda. Basically, what it does is it allows the whole board to hear what wants to be added at the same time, as opposed to reading it on the weekend before the meeting or hearing it that night. So that's the only thing. And then sometimes you may not have all the material to talk about, so you may want to put it on the next meeting, type thing. So that way the whole board knows about it, as opposed to just finding it out meeting night.
So I'm good with that if the rest of the board is.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's by, as long as it's to you by that Tuesday, correct, Jane? Anything, is the cutoff by that Tuesday? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we've always done. Cut off is Tuesday at noon. I think what Mr. Zell and Commissioner Marley are talking about is have a process whereby the board decides whether or not something's gonna go on the agenda as a bigger group than just one person calling me and telling me to put something, or sending me an email and asking me to put something on the agenda. Regardless of the cutoff time, that's not the issue.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but just for example, the homeless task force that you asked to be put on the agenda, in other words, you'd have just brought that before the board like now. We'd have discussed it and voted on whether to put it on the following agenda as an agenda item for discussion.
Okay.
That's how, am I correct? Okay.
Okay.
So let me understand the process then. Is that if we do away with what we're doing now, which is the Tuesday, that if any board member has anything they would like to put on the agenda, they submit it to Jane by the end of Tuesday, which gives town staff between Tuesday and Monday to research what that item is, which the town staff does and has done quite well in the past. And then that agenda item with the town's research is part of the agenda packet that is published on Thursday for the board meeting on Monday. That's what we're doing now. So what the recommendation is to do away with that process, which has worked well. And on the meeting, when we get to the part of additions and deletions to the agenda, then the board member presents whatever addition that is. And then, and let me make sure, and then the board will vote whether that addition is going to be heard or not. Is that the process?
The board approves the agenda,
True.
additions and deletions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the board does. So if the board says that's something they want to discuss, absolutely.
Or the board can say, nope, we don't want to discuss it.
That's right.
And it's gone.
So, you want
Yes.
Nothing goes on, nothing, you don't discuss anything on the agenda that you haven't approved.
Well, that's true, and that was the spirit of the Tuesday prior. That's the cutoff for the board members.
But the problem with that is, you put it in, the rest of them don't see it until maybe, I don't know when you read your budget. You get it, what, Thursday?
It's published on Thursday.
You get it Thursday?
electronically, you may see it Saturday, you may see it Sunday, whenever you find time to read it.
Right. We, yeah, and we,
You had no input.
yeah, in times past, we had, everything would be, would come in, and then usually the town manager, the mayor, and what we would do, sometimes even one of the commissioners would come in, but what we'd do is go over those items that might have been added, and then if it was something we felt like the full board should work on, then it wasn't put on the agenda until the full board had a chance and an opportunity to look at it. But I understand what you're saying is that the town manager would make our agenda, and then we get to the meeting, if there's something that we thought we wanted to discuss or be on, we would bring that up. And if it didn't have the information we needed at that time, then it would be put on the following agenda by the vote of the board.
But, Madam Mayor, also though, Bill, is that the process we're using now is still voted on, just like tonight, at the beginning of the meeting. Do we have any additions or deletions? And the board can vote at that point to delete an agenda item. This board has, in the past, voted to delete agenda items. I know. So that's the process. So you're right. I mean, but if it comes in advance, it gives the staff the opportunity to research it. True, the board at that time can say, nope, we read it, we haven't read it, we don't like the item, we'll approve to delete it.
Again, it's up to the board.
Right.
That's why I like the process we have now.
I think, and the other thing I think I'm hearing, and I might be wrong, but what I'm hearing too is oftentimes items will be put back on the agenda multiple times when had the board discussed it, even the items that might be taken off, had the board had the opportunity to make those additions or deletions by the whole board doing that. Then you've got the input from everybody, and you're not one person or two people directing what goes on the agenda. The town manager makes the agenda, and then when we get to the meeting, if there's more we need to add, then we do so. That way you'd stick to what should be on the agenda and not what you may just have a desire to put on the agenda. Does that make sense?
Mayor Warner.
Yes, yes.
And you may have resources going to an individual staff member just by one or two council members, and then they spend their time and efforts on that, and the rest of the council may be like, no, we didn't really have an interest in doing that. It might slow things down a week or two, but I think in the long term, you know, it gets out on Tuesday that you have to get into the packet in a day or two when it's not here, and it slows it down, but it also ensures you're not spending time and effort on resources and things you might not, as a group, be better.
Won't, yeah.
Mayor
Yes,
Warner.
ma'am.
We currently have a rules of procedure that includes an agenda process, the draft agenda, item 2 under draft agenda is requesting placement of items on draft agenda for a regular meeting. A request to have an item of business placed on the draft agenda must be received by the town clerk at least 2 working days before the date of the agenda packet publication, which is Tuesday. The town clerk must place an item on the draft agenda in response to a board of commissioners' timely request. So we will need to change this document if that is the desire of the board, because we've got it written out.
Mhm.
So we need to figure out how we would want that changed.
Mayor Warner.
Like
Yes.
myself and Dan to research ways for it to change.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think. I like to say that the way that we operate now, I understand what Commissioner Bellflowers is saying, but if one of the board members was to put something, or call Jane and have it put on the agenda, and a lot of times people see something on the agenda before we all get together, they call you and they make comments, pro and con, of what they know about it, and a lot of times we have our mind made up on whether we're going to take this on or take it off of the agenda before the board has a chance to really study it themselves. The audience or the town people or residents already know all this stuff that's going on. There's a lot of scuttlebutt, there's a lot of hard feelings, and sometimes it can divide a board. So that's my feelings, the way it operates now.
So would it be appropriate then to ask the town manager and our town clerk to research how we could rewrite that section to make it more worker friendly so that we could do it in a better way.
And we could look at some examples from other municipalities.
Right.
And see how they do theirs.
Okay. Is that all right with the board?
That's fine with me.
Okay. Is that fine? It's okay? Consensus nod? Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's can you do something and have it back to us on the 21st? Would that be, I mean, what I'm thinking though is that way we would not have too many more board meetings and end up just carrying on the way we're doing. We would have an opportunity to make that change.
I think that would be good timing because we don't have first meeting in July.
Good.
It's a holiday, so it would be
It wouldn't kick into gear until July. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right, we'll go to Commissioner Bellflowers.
Scott, welcome. Welcome family to the Hope Mills family. And Bill, it's been a fast 3 months. But we needed a steady hand at the tiller. I'm an old country boy. And when I say that, that is a compliment to you, sir, because you were that steady hand at the tiller until Scott got here. And I appreciate all the work that you've done. And I just wanted you to know that as you're riding around in your golf cart.
I didn't get a chance to say it.
Oh, you're next.
Yeah, you're next.
You're next.
You're next.
Start
I'm
right
going
there.
this way.
She's
Now I'm
going that
going
way.
this way.
Oh,
I
you're
reversed the
because he said it
process.
there, I thought he was going that
Trying
way.
to confuse you this evening.
Me
It
back.
doesn't take much to confuse me.
No, you got it.
Mr. Zell, I too would like to thank you for everything that you've done. And I know it's been very special to us and the staff. And Scott, I'd like to welcome you and your lovely family. You know, it's real nice that they could come and be with us. And I would like to make a statement that the 10 years I've been here, you're coming into the best staff we've ever had. They all work together, they pull together, and I think they're all just wonderful. So welcome. And I would like to also say that this is the first time I had heard our attorney Dan say anything when they're asked if he has a comment to make. So you should both feel very honored. That's all.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
I guess I'll echo what everyone else has said. Thank you, Mrs. L, for what you've done. Even sometimes when you had to be tough with us. And Scott, I welcome you. And I would like to, if it's something that you need to rein us in about, I know that, it's kind of like, oh, you the boss. But if it's something that you really think that we need to do, or if there's some direction that you need to give, I would please hope that you would say something.
I tend to be very frank, but I don't like to do it publicly.
Very good, very good. Thank you. But we might have needed that tonight when Bill did it in public, but that's okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we're broadcast on
But that's
TV.
okay. It really is okay. It really is
It's
okay.
all right.
I would also like to thank the Veterans Committee and anyone who was involved in the Memorial Day program. It was really nice. And thank you for Dan. Dan, it does have an attorney that's going to reach out to us to help with the 501c that's going to try to do it pro bono. So thank you, Dan. And I forgot to add Pastor Mathis on the Homeless Task Force Committee.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. His co-pastor was probably waiting, but I forgot to add him. And I would like to thank Pastor Mathis and the police officers, Chief Achardo. There was 3 other officers. I cannot remember all of their names, and every other citizen that participated in the event on Saturday. It was really good dialogue, discussion, community building. So I would like to thank everyone for that. And I know that it's been a long night, so good night, everybody.
I won't go back through everybody's kudos, but you know that this board appreciates everything that you've done, and also we're welcoming our new family and our new town manager. And again, I think it's great to say that there's no tax increase, We've got a budget that we can work with, and we also know that there's some other fundings that might come in that will help us, and we've got some of the projects that we want finished to be completed. I do remind you, Saturday is a busy day, a fun day. Pop-up art festival, people start arriving at 10. We've got the other side of that is Pet Fest, and we'll have dogs and all kinds of stuff going on for pets. We have horses are going to be here. It's just going to be a all over the park kind of activity, but it'll be a fun activity. You can bring your pets with you when you come, and my experience with Pet Fest is they bring a lot of freebie things that they give away to people, so it's just a fun day. Plus, there'll be an opportunity for you to adopt a pet if you so desire. So that starts Saturday morning. The festivities start at 10, and then the unveiling of the park and everything will be at 11. Anything else? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Commissioner Legg. Glad you're feeling better.